Bitches! Hey, join me for the first time in a long time are my friends from school. You don't want to give your real names, give your gamer tags or whatever.
Hey, sisters.
Bunch.
Jester was back.
Been a while, Jester, been a while. So we're going to watch some Christian cringe and maybe some tankies later on. Because, YOLO, we hate stupid people in general. And retardation is something that knows no boundaries. It crosses all religions, creeds, and nationalities. We're going to watch Brian Holdsworth, the most retarded ginger-haired fuck I've ever seen in my life.
Except for the base Sigma men. Alright.
Yeah, alright, let's see.
Sigma, you mean with the way he talks about verbal assaulting? I think he's an omega.
Omega male.
An omega male.
I mean, just look at him. The guy's
pointing
got
out the
crusader.
obvious, but we all have the potential to be better than we are. Maybe in dramatic measures, but also maybe just in slight incremental measures. Like, we could all be more educated, for example. We could spend more time studying and devoting ourselves to resources that will develop our minds, our skills, and our understanding than we do, like, scrolling social media or, I don't know, playing video games. We could all be at least a little more physically fit. We could spend a little more time exercising as opposed to killing time with sedentary options like watching TV
Maybe if
and
this man had some
eating
education,
junk
he wouldn't be
food.
saying
We could be
this.
a little more generous. We could all certainly do more to help those who are less fortunate than we are. We could be at least a little more patient in those moments in which we have to endure some situation that we would rather probably avoid. But for the sake of others, or at least ourselves, we could learn to do so with poise and calm instead of, like, restlessness and annoyance. These are the potentials that we could realize in our lives. And what's also important to understand about this is that to whatever degree we make such improvements, we would be happier and more fulfilled for doing so. Why, you might ask? Well, just think about it. If you were more physically fit than you currently are, you'd be able to enjoy more experiences in this life, doing things, and feel better about yourself in the process. You would enjoy more freedom in life from good options that your fitness would afford you. A more educated you would be happier as well. Again, because you would have the freedom to realize all kinds of opportunities than a version of yourself who lacks those kinds of knowledge and skills would. You'd have presumably greater job opportunities, better understanding of the people in the world around you, richer conversations.
It's called college, which you didn't get any of.
From that understanding, a courageous person, all other things being equal, is going to be happier than a fearful person. Again, because they will be able to exercise more freedom to access more of the good things that this life has to offer. They're going to ask the girl to the dance. They're going to fly on the plane. They're going to swim in the ocean. They're going to overcome their adversaries instead of shrinking and retreating away from those things out of fear. A more disciplined person is going to be happier than a less disciplined person. Again, all things being equal, because their ability to govern their behavior will mean that they will do a better job managing their responsibilities and reaping the fruits of their labors, not to mention avoiding things that might be attractive to them but are simultaneously not good for them. Like, think about a student who waits until the last minute to do the project or to study for the exam, who ends up performing worse and exposing themselves to all kinds of extreme stress and anxiety as they do so. Whereas the disciplined student organizes their time, completes their work in manageable strides, and is able to enjoy the process as they go, not to mention the benefit from a better grade in the end. The more you actualize these good character traits in your life, the happier you will be for it. And here's what's really important to understand about this. There are people in your life who could help you realize this greater potential and the greater happiness that could be waiting for you on the other side. These are people and there are people in your life who could help you realize this greater potential and the greater happiness that could be waiting for you on the other side. These are people like your parents, mentors, and teachers. And you might expect that some of those people are motivated by actual love for you in helping you in this way. Like, they're not just teaching you or mentoring you because they have to do it, because they actually want what's best for you. Again, because they want you to realize the fullest happiness that you can in this life by becoming the best version of yourself. That's what it means to love someone. But here's the catch. Every process of actualizing some greater measure of potential requires delayed pleasure, delayed satisfaction, and oftentimes some kind of strain or even suffering to achieve. Again, if I want to become more physically fit, I have to suspend the immediate satisfaction of taking it easy and just eating whatever I want,
I mean, that's
and instead
true.
put in the hard work, experience the physical strain and stress of the exercise. I have to sacrifice time that I might otherwise spend doing
where the guy looks like he's taking
more
a shit.
pleasing things to my senses. I have to suspend the immediate pleasures for greater immediate happiness, the long-term happiness that could be realized by being more physically fit. The same goes with education. We have to sacrifice time doing things that
this is just
we
generic
might
life
enjoy
advice.
For a process that is at times
Also, delayed gratification
difficult,
is bullshit,
even distressing.
Okay?
It is going to stretch the limits of our
doing something, then why the fuck are you doing it? Hot take.
Yeah, they should fucking.
I mean, it's a balance.
I'm balancing my.
Okay, if you want to get fit, then you should like working out. Okay.
Yeah.
At least at some level. If you want to become smart, I don't like doing all my fucking homework for college, but guess what? I still like learning stuff by doing the homework.
Yeah.
Because I'm in a med field. Okay. I don't like reading the textbook, but I do like reading what's in the textbook. If that makes any damn sense. Okay.
I mean,
that's weird.
you should be
Not
happy.
everything is delayed gratification. People don't talk about delayed gratification because they want to delay when they nut. Okay.
Dude, no, this dude gets his gratification from looking at his wife's ankles, dude. Because that's as far as she'll go for him.
Yeah, pretty much.
He probably gets off to chastity belts too.
Probably. Dude.
abilities, our discipline, and our understanding. It might mean studying when I'd rather be resting, finishing projects when I'd rather be hanging out with friends, attending class and lectures that I might consider boring when I might rather be doing something more fun. It means suspending the immediate pleasures for the greater long-term immediate happiness. And if someone says that they love me, we should expect from them a recognition that the greater long-term happiness is a greater good for me, and that it's worth encouraging me into the experiences that might be difficult, distressing, and might even cause suffering for me, if it means that in the end, I'll be happier for it. That's why parents put their kids in school and even sometimes force them to go to school when they don't want to, and maybe especially when they don't want to. This is what it means to love someone, to will their good, to recognize that there's some greater good that they've found in their life.
You know, it's been 5 minutes, about halfway through the video, and I haven't heard the word hell once.
Yeah.
I'll just say it.
You want to keep watching this? Or you want to switch?
Full clarification, I remember the title is All Are Welcome, ... in hell.
Lives and now want to help someone else to realize. But a person who comes along and whispers, you don't need to do all of that. Stop with all of this exercising. Stop with the studying. Stop with pushing yourself to the limits. Look at how hard it is on you. You shouldn't have to experience this kind of strain.
You haven't pushed yourself to the limit in a single point in your entire life. Okay, I can tell by the way you speak.
Bro's not even pushing.
You talk about it like you've never gotten one as high or like anything. You've never felt like you were on the brink. Okay, that hasn't happened once. I can tell just because of how he speaks about it.
Bro's not even pushing his arguments to the limits.
Yeah, you think that he'd put some effort into this argument, but this argument has just been live, laugh, love.
I'd find stronger opinions with a Minecraft villager.
Yeah.
To be happy, you can be happy right now just staying the way you are. Enjoy the junk food, enjoy the video games, enjoy the afternoon off instead of going to that
Most intelligent people will tell you to take a balance.
Enjoy sleeping in instead of going to the
work.
gym. Just be happy as you are.
Most intelligent people spend more time not doing shit and being lazy than actually doing shit.
That is also true.
That's
base.
Which
I mean,
of those
if you're
voices
going for college,
sounds like the voice of love?
there should
I would
be
say
fun.
the former
You
every
should
single
enjoy
time.
your 20s.
The voice of the teacher who tells you to keep going in spite of the strain because there's something greater on the other side. That's the voice of love. The latter voice is the voice of temptation, and all temptation works this way. All temptation is the suggestion that you should seek immediate satisfaction rather than enduring some noble process of adversity in order to realize a greater potential happiness.
I'm adversely inside your mom.
Let's hear mom respond to this. It's going to be funny.
Okay, so he's talking about studying and like his teacher. Okay, there is something from my experience. There is something what he's talking about. The delayed gratification when it comes to like at least what I've learned is that being able to understand the system in which you're studying fully. That is the delayed gratification. When you can see where things go and somebody can ask you a question, you can look inside your head and say, oh, well, this turns into this in the body, and that does this, and that means this, which means this. That's type of delayed gratification. I guess that's what he's talking about when it comes to like studying. But in studying, there is no delayed gratification. There was no such thing in studying. There's no delayed gratification at all. There was... Unless you're talking about the material aspect.
And look, he has a Templar helmet in the background.
But I feel like he would argue against studying just for money. So I don't think he's talking about the material aspect. In terms of studying, no, it's an immediate gratification. Because you just learned the fact. You just looked at it in the textbook. Now you know. That's immediate.
Something he's never done in his life.
All right, let's go back to the...
happiness and satisfaction that will endure in the long term. And for those of us who believe that God is love, we have to be able to recognize his voice in the former, in the voice of the mentor, the parent, and the teacher.
Where the fuck did God come from? Can somebody tell me that? Yeah, he just kind of slipped that in there.
God just came from the fucking folds, dude, the darkness.
He just came from the ether in this conversation. Okay.
All right.
Who's willing to subject those under their care to a formative process to become better and happier, even if that means some initial strain, some immediate challenge and adversity.
That's really bad. Like, you shouldn't be able to do that. Yeah, I think you're right.
What are we doing? All right, back to what we're doing. All right.
Okay, wait. Wind it a bit.
Their care to a formative process to become better and happier, even if that means some initial strain, some immediate challenge and adversity. If God loves everyone, and I believe that he does, then he's going to invite everyone to become their greatest potential, not simply stagnating in what they already are, even though becoming their...
This dude sounds gay and sensitive.
Why does this man take the idea that formative progress is... I do agree with him to some point. In my own philosophy, I think pain is necessary for growth.
Yeah.
But, I mean... Okay, let's just continue here, because that's a whole fucking...
Well, Catholics have a BDSM relationship with God. Let's face it. Catholics have an S&M relationship with God.
Well, the whole my point is that, like... Okay, if you have a will to live... I'm just going to go on the small rant. You can cut it out the video if you want to.
Yeah, I'll put it in.
Or you can add it in somewhere. But in the process of saying, I want to live, or having a will to live, you are masochistic, because life is pain. Okay, it is all discomfort, and that's why we are constantly trying to get comfort. Everything else is pain and discomfort. So if you like living, you like pain and discomfort, which means formation or forming into something better should be something you like. It doesn't make any sense that it's not. So what is delayed gratification? I need an explanation of what this is.
All right.
Necessitate adversity and oftentimes suffering. That's the message of Jesus, who said, deny yourself and pick up your cross. Pick up an instrument of ancient barbaric torture and embrace it. And in so doing, you'll realize a greater happiness in the long term. He says that those who sacrifice their life...
So since he thinks that greater happiness comes from torture, do you think he's into CBT?
Well, I mean, life
he gets closer to God.
I'm gonna use this as a Buddhist reference. Suffering is pain, and you should use suffering to make you a better person. Yes. But that should not be the focus of your life. The focus of your life should be to be a loving person. It shouldn't be focusing on the suffering itself.
I mean, I disagree, but we have different philosophies. But he's talking about, like, if you want to talk about love, then you need to develop skills so that you can develop your community by teaching your community those skills. So...
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Lives now will inherit a greater life in eternity. That's the message of a God of love, what it means to love someone. But understanding that as a divine physician, it's going to mean something like a treatment plan to become that greatest potential, to become saints, which will require...
You don't become saints!
If you ever say, if I ever hear the words, here's a treatment plan for becoming a saint, and somebody says that to me dead ass, I might punch them. Because I don't even know how to respond to that.
Spiritual surgery at times, which let's admit that's going to be unpleasant. But increasingly,
No
we're
one
seeing
is
movements in
denying
the
that life
church
is suffering
that want to
once you
say,
mature
just
adults.
come as you are, stay as you are. All are welcome just as they are, with no simultaneous message of, if you want God's promises of eternal life, if you want God's promises fulfilled in your life, you're going to have to undertake this process of change. You're going to have to respond in some way, first and foremost by repenting. You're going to have to recognize your faults and renounce them to begin the process of being healed of them. You have to embrace a process of sanctification. That's what it means to be a disciple of Jesus. And to endorse or to give your blessing on someone as they are.
How do you contradict yourself in your own argument?
Say it, guys. This spiel.
How do you contradict yourself in your own argument?
Yeah.
Both of his arguments were arguments against each other.
Dude, this dude, I don't know, this dude's kind of legendary for it, dude. He does it every video, literally every
Do you
video.
think he realizes that?
No, I don't. I don't think he does. I think he's too stupid. I don't think he
In
can.
the
Okay.
name of inclusivity is not inclusive and it's not loving. And so anybody who wants to say that that's the defining feature of the God who is love, they're lying to you. A church that prioritizes unconditioned inclusivity has more in common with hell than it does with God's kingdom, because all
This
are
dude's
welcome.
preaching for, like, the most biblical-
wait. I can't even understand what this man's saying. So he just said God is a God of love that accepts everybody as they are, and then went completely around and said churches who value unconditional inclusivity, that's something that's in common with hell.
PB thinks this guy's an idiot, Munch.
This
PB
dude's
thinks.
wild.
Okay, Munch. Jester. You know my friend PB, mutual friend of ours.
Nah, dude, come on.
Okay.
As they are in hell. Hell doesn't expect you to change, to become better as a prerequisite to admission. In fact, it doesn't want you to change. It wants you to stagnate and to miss out on your fullest happiness and purpose, not to mention your purpose in life, which we admitted from the beginning
he
is
getting
not where we
emotional about
are.
this?
We can all improve, remember?
I think
Hell
I
wants you to
heard, like, a
skip
little
out on
uptick
all
in
of that
monotone
and is
voice.
happy to just take you in as you are. Admission into God's kingdom, by contrast, is conditional. All are invited, but not everyone responds to that invitation. Accepting the invitation is one of the conditions. There's the parable of the banquet that Jesus uses to explain this to us. He says that the king hosts this wedding banquet for his son and invites a certain caliber of people to attend, but they don't come. And so he sends out invitations to all the rabble, and they respond to that invitation by coming. Then the doors are closed for the banquet and shut, and the invitation at that point has expired. The opportunity to attend has expired. But someone tries to sneak in after the fact, and they're not wearing the appropriate wedding garments. In other words, they didn't come prepared. And that person is subsequently thrown out. Being a disciple of Jesus, being a member of his church, and ultimately being a saint in heaven is conditional. It's conditional to our responding favorably.
Wait, hold on. You can't, again with what Tavian said, you can't become a saint.
Saints just happen naturally.
If you're trying to become a saint, you're not a saint. That's just like, it's like a catch-22.
I mean, if you think about listen to the great spiritual people of our time. They weren't trained to be that. It just happened out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Do you think
wait,
Dr.
do I
King?
even know? Wait, how much do I know about theology? We haven't had a saint in like forever, right?
No, the Catholic Church canonizes the saints all the time.
I mean, an actual saint.
The last like real one that
Was
people
probably
recognize-
Dr. King.
Well, no, it was Teresa.
Catholic saint, Teresa. But she was also kind of a shitty human being.
Maybe, possibly.
All right, let's go to a different video.
No, we'll finish it. No.
To that invitation,
Wow.
and being willing to conform ourselves to his standard. In other words, to put on the
You
wedding
forget
garment.
the
And
retardation
over and
increases
over again in
as the time
Scripture,
goes.
Jesus says things like, unless you do X, you will not inherit eternal life. In other words, there's a conditional logic to that eternal happiness. Our inclusion in his kingdom is conditioned by those prerequisites. And by that, everyone is universally invited, but not everyone will accept that invitation. If the church were to try to circumvent those conditions and smuggle people in by refusing to tell them that those are the conditions, it would be a liar. It would be one that gives voice to the kingdom of hell rather than the kingdom of heaven.
What the? Holy fucking...
I didn't catch it.
You
Wait.
just said the most nonsensical shit.
Try to circumvent those conditions and smuggle people in by refusing to tell them that those are the conditions, it would be a liar. It would be one that gives voice to the kingdom of hell rather than the kingdom of heaven. If you're a Catholic who is a leader in your profession and you're like me, you probably had some desire for more opportunities to network with other Catholic.
No. Nothing you said makes sense.
He's just a giga-chat.
His own philosophy doesn't make sense. You can't. That's like having. Oh my god. Okay.
Dude, he's just built different.
You guys want to watch the gender role one? That one's
That's like saying I'm a nihilist and then saying that my life's purpose is to help kittens. Okay.
Sexuality is a choice. Okay, let's see which one here. Let's find his most sexist video. Trying to think of one that you guys have seen. I haven't seen yet. All right.
That was the worst one I've seen yet. By the way, that one was wild.
Yeah, it was a little bit wild.
Okay, let's see here. Oh, Matt Walsh.
Matt Walsh.
All right, yeah, he's a Catholic too. All right.
Of course he is. He likes kids. Of course he's a Catholic.
Okay, Brian Holdsworth. Why? Oh, here's a good one. Why can't women be priests? This one's wild as fuck. Ready, guys?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right, Munch. This is from his younger years.
I think I've got toothpaste all over my pants. I hope that doesn't show up in the shot. A constant selling point we keep hearing about for new movies is that they feature a strong female character. And what that has come to mean is a female character who performs tasks that are traditionally or historically design specializes in brand. And what that has come to mean is a female character who performs tasks that are traditionally or historically associated with masculinity. So this often means that she's a warrior to contend with, or a power broker at work, or that she can be just as crude and sexual as the boys down in the pub. Our ancestors believed that men and women have distinct qualities, and as far as I've been told, all of the prevailing science supports that. As a result, our ancestors tried to define roles and conventions that were best suited to the strengths of each. So yeah, it might be true to say that gender roles are a societal convention, but what's being left out of that is the fact that those conventions are an attempt, although admittedly imperfect, but an attempt nonetheless to reflect the objective, biological, and maybe even spiritual realities. So how well suited those roles are to fit that reality is something that I think we should be constantly re-examining to see if it can better reflect what is good and true. But what we've done instead over the past century is we've identified one side of that equation, specifically the masculine side, and we've put it up on a pedestal where we've said that it's desirable and glamorous, and that if women want to be equal to men, then they should simply embrace and assume all the responsibilities and privileges of that masculine.
This man should look into the origin of all insults and where it came from.
That's inside of the equation.
Ironically.
All the while ignoring the fact that not everything that comes with the traditional male gender role is a privilege. For example, the potential for being conscripted for war, or having to sit on the Titanic while it's sinking.
Hadn't we better get the women and children into the boat, sir?
It's a strange idea that the only way to truly honor and respect women is by expecting them to be more like men.
Oh, what?
It seems to me like that's just honoring men and masculinity. I'm just saying. A perfect example of what I'm talking about is even just the way we've changed our vocabulary. You know, talking about Hollywood, we used to have actors and actresses, but now everybody's just actors in the name of equality. But what happened to actresses? Why didn't we all become actresses instead of actors?
They went to Las Vegas.
Why did we get rid of the feminine and everybody just become masculine? That's not women's equality. That's just erasing women from the equation.
No.
That doesn't make sense to me. And I think it's a really juvenile thing to say that the only way two distinct things, or in this case people, can be equal is by making them exactly the same or erasing those distinctions. I think a better solution would be to recognize and celebrate all the distinct qualities of femininity And if we're talking about strong female characters, I don't think that being able to beat people up or get a promotion at work should be really high on that list. The things I've seen my wife embrace and endure in pregnancy and childbirth and motherhood show way more strength and courage than anything I've seen in a modern Hollywood heroine.
Dude, this guy's fucking retarded.
I'm aghast.
Okay, Munch, go. Answer as much as you can, guys, both of you. He's arguing that a woman, just because a woman wears pants or likes to be in combat, that she's like not feminine. What is feminine? What is masculine?
You better cut out referring to me as that name, by the way.
I will.
No, you won't. So you better fucking do it. I'm gonna kill you.
What do you guys want to say?
I don't know what there is to say. He's just retarded. He doesn't have a
Munch, use your philosophy. Anthropologically, he's wrong as fuck.
He's just an idiot.
Well, all around.
I get the point he's making, but the point he's making is on like a one-dimensional take. It's just not.
The Crow, before they had any contact.
This is like looking at a third-dimensional being as a fourth-dimensional being. Dude. You're just looking at him like, what are you doing?
Unironically.
Like you can't move on the D-axis. What are you doing?
So where do you disagree with on his philosophy? Just go.
He's just wrong.
Yeah,
there's nothing to point out.
He's simply just raw. He's bad. His arguments are like maybe like this is like maybe middle school debate club at best.
Yes.
This is like just really bad. Anybody with like maybe 80 or 90 IQ.
And those are things that only women can do. Apart. But we don't celebrate them. Instead, we pressure women to embrace roles that look more typically male because we've somehow identified that masculinity is the best and that femininity should be suppressed, even medically if necessary. So let's bring this into the conversation about the Catholic priesthood. The first thing I would say is that I think that this conversation has fallen prey to a lot of the same nonsense that I'm talking about. I think that because this role has always been exclusively performed by men.
Wrong.
We've surrendered to this idea that it is desirable and glamorous and therefore should be also available to women. All the while we're forgetting that this is a role of tremendous sacrifice. They give up physical intimacy, spousal companionship, the opportunity to have children of their own. They never stay in one place for very long.
That's because Orthodox is base and their priests are allowed to fuck their wives, not fuck children.
Giga Chad, alright. Catholic priest, cringe. Orthodox priest, base.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Orthodox priest.
I don't have anything to say. He hasn't thought this through.
He hasn't thought much of anything.
Yeah.
Look at those eyes! Just look at those dead eyes!
Yeah, that motherfucker isn't.
The dude's got a 1,000-mile stare without the war background to justify it.
No, his eyes, there's just nothing behind them.
There's no soul.
And they work insane hours. Not surprisingly,
and
the factions that are campaigning for the ordination of women are also campaigning for the abolition of celibacy. Because again, I think they've identified this as sort of a glamorous thing that they want to be actually glamorous. They want all of the honor and none of the sacrifice. When Pope Francis was asked about this, he responded by saying that it was a kind of clericalism. And I think he's right. It's a clericalism where we put priests up on this pedestal and we create this unhealthy appetite where we want to see ourselves up on that pedestal, and for all the wrong reasons. There's also the question of what God or Christ wants for his church. What we do know is that the incarnation of God took place in the role of a male, and that's a fundamental belief of Christians. And then Jesus, in establishing his church and handing on his authority to it, chose 12 men exclusively for the role of the apostles. And that doesn't mean that women can't be leaders or spiritual role models in the church. But it does mean that whatever it means to be an apostle, that it is a role for men. Now,
Mary Magdalene, dumbass. Mary fucking Magdalene.
Unironically.
There were women pastors and deacons that even Paul, the founder of Christian doctrine, had. Like, if you read the New Testament, Paul literally had women pastors and deacons, like, preaching the word and spreading, like...
I don't understand what his... But his point is fucking flawed. Let's just say that there wasn't any women, like, pastors at all. Let's just say that he's white. He's still not making a good fucking argument. His argument roots down to, well, we always didn't use medicine. We didn't use fucking orbs to fucking clean our wounds, so we should just keep doing that.
Yeah,
That's what
there
his
are
fucking
theological
argument boils down
explanations
to.
for this. But if we're really going to ask the question of why God only chose men for this role, then we have to admit that the actual answer is a bit of a mystery. As in, we can't comprehend all of God's reasons because we're either not fit or not smart enough.
No,
but the
like-
factions that are
Real
pushing
quick,
for
I gotta
women's
pause the video
ordination
real quick, just look at the time frame.
do have the
I know
rationalizations
this
for
dude is
why
about
they
to spend
think
the rest
Jesus
of the
did what he
video
did.
talking about
But they're
mysteries and
really,
shit, dude.
really bad
I
arguments.
know he's not about to
And
do
they
that.
smuggle in what I think is an unintended but necessary conclusion that would throw the baby Jesus out with the bathwater. They say that Jesus only chose men because of societal conventions and because men exclusively sat in positions of religious authority, that Jesus was just going along with that. But the reason I think that that is such a bad argument is because there's nothing suggested in the character of Jesus that would say that he would be motivated by fear of upsetting the arbitrary conventions and traditions of men. He routinely affiliated with outcasts and sinners, the untouchables of society,
Which you
according
don't.
to the religious customs, with lepers and with poor people, and he relentlessly criticized the religious leaders of his day. So
Which you blindly follow your religious leaders, and you probably don't want gay people near your kids.
You're making terrible points, Grant.
much
Sad.
so that they
Ow.
successfully conspired to have him executed. The second very serious problem with that line of reasoning is that it includes the belief that restricting certain roles to men, or women for that matter, is sexist. And that the only reason Jesus did it was because of societal convention, but it's still sexist, and sexism is wrong. If that's how you define
Yeah, dude,
sexism,
to be honest, I
and
don't
if
think
according to that
Grant
definition
said
it's a
much
moral
more
wrong,
earlier,
then
I
you
don't know if this guy's got
necessarily
the
have
brain
to
power to
admit
refute any of
that
it.
it's a sin, and that Jesus committed it. And if Jesus committed a sin, then he could not have been God incarnate, God who is goodness itself. And if he wasn't God incarnate, then there's no point to having a church or priests or any of it. Lastly, I
Wow,
want to address
dude,
this point that we
he just solved it. He solved it. Holy shit, he got you. No, go back. No. He just solved it. He's gonna miss it. He just solved it. Oh my god, he just did it.
The riddle just flew past him.
The riddle just flew past him.
Holy
Somebody help this man. He had it.
keep hearing that if women can't be priests, then we need to give them more prominence and influence in the church. And what we mean by that is that they should be sitting on more theological commissions and boards of governance and committees or whatever. Now, if there are women who want roles like that and are qualified and ready, then great, all the power to them as far as I'm concerned. But I think we need to make sure that we're not forgetting something in the midst of that concern. When we talk about the church, as in women need more influence over the church, what do we mean by the church? Well, the church is God's people. So influence over the church is synonymous with influence over God's people. Well, the thing I would say to that, and I hesitate to say it because I can just feel the hate mail coming, is that traditionally, women already had the most influential role in the church. Nothing is more influential than motherhood. To have the most exclusive access to children at the most critical stages of development is more influence than any bishop
That's
or
just
pope will
false.
ever have.
He's so smart.
That's just
dude.
false. He's just dumb. I should give this man a lesson. I should give this man a lesson in one of my. I should just give him a lecture on the power of stories, real quick. Okay.
Yeah, everything this dude says is just so soy.
He just doesn't. He's just not there.
What about bad moms? There's entire generations.
That's not what
of
we're talking about. He's trying to argue that mothership is like the hardest fucking thing, dude. Okay, wolves can teach a kid. Okay, I don't know what you. It's not. That's not. Help me, help him.
I can't help him. He's fucking too stupid. He doesn't even know. I bet you he doesn't even know what direction.
There are no theological papers, encyclicals, or magisterial exhortations that can compare to the mentoring of a child by their mother. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed that, then please consider subscribing and liking. And come find me on Facebook and Twitter. It's a huge help.
I think like somewhere around the middle of the video, he like kind of talked about priesthood, and then he like kind of fucked off from it.
I bet this guy just wants to have a vagina. I'm sorry. This guy just wants to birth out children himself.
This dude is like, he thinks of women like creatures. I don't know what else to say.
He really does.
They're not humans to him.
Yeah. Oh, God. Well, that's Christian cringe, folks. That is Christian cringe. See you next time. Stay sane. And, guys, don't go Catholic.